Today you're going to be following me while I repair my girlfriend's duvet. She's been complaining about losing feathers between the seams of her duvet cover. It's more prevalent in the corners of the duvet, but as you can see here, even in the middle of one of the long sides of the duvet, you can see that feathers are poking out between the seams. This is actually only my second day with this machine, and I'm excited to be able to use it for a project. I've been wanting a sewing machine for a little while now, and I had a good excuse to get this one now because I have a project. But as you can tell, I did forget how to wind a bobbin. Turns out you got to put it through the back guide first, around this little pretension post, and then not the direction that I'm currently spinning the bobbin. Yeah, that didn't work. I was about to do it the same way again, but I was like, wait, let me do it the other way. And so the arrow on the top of the machine points the opposite direction. It points the direction the bobbin turns, not the way that you should thread the thread. Well, here I wanted to wait for the bobbin to just pop the little mechanism, but it was getting kind of big and I was running out of thread, so I was getting nervous and stopped it. So time to just wind the machine up. I've never had a machine where the automatic threader actually works. It's actually so much easier. If I recall from when I was in college, I had to try to thread this myself, and you need a very steady hand, and I don't, and so it's awesome that it's just got this automatic threader. I needed to make some test stitches. I didn't know if I would like the stitch length, and so I made an initial stitch just with the default setting. I found that I didn't really like how long it was, so I reduced it down to 1.5 because the whole point is to try to keep the feathers from slipping between the stitches. Then I made a second stitch, test stitch, got it. It was good, so it was time to start working on the duvet. Now you can see on the top left, the problem area isn't the stitches where they closed the duvet. It's where they folded the duvet cover inside out. So they stopped the stitches just before they got to the corner of the duvet. So that meant that I had to start right before the corner, and then I would go onto the long side of the duvet. As you can see, there's a stitch on the left, the original one, and I'm creating mine. During many of the projects that I build, I've learned that I can't hit perfection on the first try. So even though I was working on the final product, I did make some mistakes, and this is the very first one that I made. While I was paying attention to where the needle was hitting, I wasn't paying attention to what was going underneath the presser foot. Turns out the bottom side got sucked in because I wasn't paying attention to the tension in the bottom of the duvet cover. And so now I've got to try to fix that. I was trying really hard to get the tension on the bottom of the duvet just to keep the same stitch going, but eventually it just kept sucking in the bottom of the duvet cover and I couldn't get it to escape no matter what. So I decided I'll just go a little bit further, then cut this thread off and start again. So because I couldn't get this stitch to stop overlapping on the back side of the duvet, went ahead and stopped the stitch and started a new one. We're back on track. And now it's sewing in a straight line or as straight a line as I can go for as long as I can go. While I was doing this, I noticed at the very beginning of the duvet cover when I started stitching, the needle was going through very effortlessly and it was very quiet. It didn't sound like it was punching through the material. It just sounded like it was going right through it. Towards the end of sewing the duvet, I did notice it was thumping a little bit more. I think it was just it was having a more difficult time, maybe getting a little blunt, having a more difficult time getting through the material. This was the demo needle that came with the machine when I was looking at it on the store floor. And so I'll just go ahead and swap it out when I get the chance on the next project. As I started getting closer to the ends, I needed to slow down to make sure I didn't completely ruin the corners. When I got to this little loop, I don't know what the loop is for, but when I got to the loop, I needed to make sure I stepped over it properly, put some tension on it, went right over it. It's no problem. I don't even think the machine noticed. I do have a little bit of practice making some garments on the sewing machine, so doing the multitasking of slowly hitting the presser foot and then rotating the garment. I'm not great at it yet, but it was a little bit more doable. And this project is a good refresher. A lot of straight lines, just practice sewing in a straight line. The only difficult part was that all the fluff was kept pushing the needle, kept pushing the garment out of the way under the presser foot. It kept sliding to my left. And so I had to really keep an eye on making sure that as I slipped down, I kept pushing the fabric right underneath the line. And that was a little bit more difficult. I wish I had no fluff. I tried to scoot the fluff over to the far side of the inside of the duvet, but it wasn't really working out. Tried my best, and as you can see, as I go through now, I'm trying to make sure that I get both the top and the bottom, make sure that the duvet cover doesn't get pinched anywhere, so I don't make the same mistake that I made earlier. Now, my hand position while I'm doing these long seams, I really don't know where to put my arms. You can see a couple times I put my arm through the throat of the machine on the right side of the needle, and it's not really comfortable. I don't really think that that's a proper technique. So I'll have to look through. Maybe someone can tell me where my hands should be so they're a little bit more ready to manipulate the fabric while I'm pushing it underneath the presser foot. But we finally get to the end, the last stitch. I've turned the corner and we've made it all the way around the three sides of the duvet cover. Time to take it out, inspect my handiwork. As you can see, I pulled it out and I noticed this one feather that was sticking out and I tried to pull it out. As you can see, I'm struggling to pull it out because the stitches are so close together. I take that as a good sign. Yes, there were some poking out when I sewed over it, but hopefully in the future, these raggedy lines help prevent feathers from coming out of the duvet cover. Thank you for following me for this project, and I'll see you guys next time.